Hello everybody, this is Oliver from Neon. Today we are going to talk about our third tea. Today I'm going to talk about the Kukicha from Yakushima. So we recently launched our tea sampler of 4 different stem teas which you can buy for $9.99, and in this video series I will just pick one after the other and then I will explain it. So today I'm going to dive into the Kukicha from Yakushima. So stem teas in general, as you might know, are actually teas which are very low in caffeine, and stem teas are also very rich in minerals. But nevertheless, there are strong differences of each stem tea depending what field they're coming from, or what's the tea of which the stem teas are used. For example, is it the sencha, is it the gyokuro, is it the shaded, is it an unshaded? So the taste can vary. Also, they can vary due to the fact of depending on where they are coming from. And the Kukicha Yakushima is coming from the island of Yakushima, and this is an island deep in the south of Japan. So even further than the southern part of the main island. You take the boat, you go for 5 hours on the island, and then you're gonna be there. And it is just an impressive beauty. This island, it is pure. It is a very kind of island where people look after nature. They always seek out the balance between human and nature. So it's kind of the most impressive natural part of Japan that I have seen. So for me personally, it is an amazing experience. So it was an amazing experience to be in there now twice this year, and from there we brought back one of our Kukichas, and this is the Kukicha from Mr. Watanabe, and this is this one here. As you can see, it is a good mix between stems and leaves. It is a little bit more on the leafy side than stems, so there's in comparison, for example, to the Osada, which we have here, just to have a broad look. Here with the Osada, we see the stems are more dominant than with this one here. Here we see a little bit more darker parts. Meanwhile, here with the Osada, we see that the stems are quite overrepresenting. So here we have more stems than leaf, while with this one, or with the Yakushima Kukicha, we have more leaves than stems. What we also know from the tea from Yakushima, that it is actually pretty grassy on its taste notes. So already the sencha or even the shincha of Mr. Watanabe has a nice grassy flavor, a little bit of sweetness to it, but also a little bit slight tannic, a little bit of dry flavor. And this one here, now I'm curious to see what actually the taste is like in terms of stem tea, how the tea taste actually is. So let's dive directly into it and put these 3 aside and really concentrate on the Kukicha from Yakushima. Heat up the kyushu a bit, just rinse it a bit, and now we take 5 grams of the Kukicha, and I'm gonna pour in, or I normally pour in, around 100 to 150 ml, and leave it in just for 1 minute. That's more than enough for a Japanese green tea from a sencha. So this tea is coming from a sencha, and it is an unshaded tea, meaning that it is not covered before the harvest. So I'm curious to see. Normally teas which are not covered before the harvest, they show a little bit more, a hint of astringency. So I'm curious to see how this tea will evolve. Now I used low temperature water, so here I'm around 60 degrees Celsius, 140 Fahrenheit. Good, so we are already through and we have brewed our tea, and now let's go and have a look at the color already. Good. So we see for stem tea, typical, it's more on this golden, or kind of this golden color is quite dominant. So we can see that here this color is a little bit of a slight greenish, shade green color within the gold, but still the gold is still more the strongest color in the tea, so that's why it has the color of a typical stem tea, but there's a slight hint of greenness in the liquid of this tea. Now let's have a look and a smell of the tea leaves. So definitely if we have a grassy note mixed strongly with a haze note, so you have the hay, this flavor of the stems, this a little bit more drier summer grass note. But there's a nice hint of sweet greenness living with it. We have a little bit of edamame greenness, a little bit of a spinachy greenness. But the sweetness is like this sweet corn, slight sweet corn flavor, but it's not very dominant, so it's more of between the kind of the haze flavor, a little bit the dry summer flavor, and the green, and the slight hint of sweetness of sweet corn. So let's see how the taste is like. Very sweet, very round also the taste of this tea. We have a little bit of this grassiness coming in. So now brewed it even a little bit less, I guess it cooled down a little bit the water for 50 around 50 degrees, so 130 Fahrenheit, 25-30. So the cold water or the colder water brings a little bit more out the sweetness. So if you have experienced this, so if you want to have a sweeter tea, just go down with the temperature. And what I can see is I still have this kind of a haze, a little bit dry flavor, a little bit also minerally flavor, which is in the tea, but I have a nice sweetness swinging with it without being too much on the sweet corn side. So there's more a little bit of a hint of a small fruitiness with it. And I can really bring out more kind of the sweeter, a little bit also savory side. There's a small savory side now with it. So the more I go down with the temperature and the higher I go up, the more I will have also the grassy notes. But if you want to play with this around, but mainly this tea has really this nice, a little bit haze, a little bit dry, a little bit minerally sides to it, and then there's a nice sweetness, or first kind of a vegetal greenness with it, and then turning into sweetness. This is now mainly triggered because I used rather low temperature water. The more I go up, the more I will have these notes a little bit disappearing, the sweet corn goes a little bit back, and I bring out more the grassiness. But out of the teas, for example, when I compare it to Osada Kukicha, which is just a little bit more dry and much more tanninic, I see that with the green kind of the green leaves are a little bit on the bigger part, or kind of taking up more of the amount of the tea in a whole with around 60%. I definitely feel kind of a nice green flavor to it. Additionally to the flavor of this haze, a little bit cereally, a little bit drier flavor. So it's balancing nicely, and due to the low temperature, I'm bringing out also a little bit more of the sweet notes of this tea, which is pretty nice. So I would say I'll go just into a second brewing, just to see how this tea evolves from brewing to brewing. Only 20 seconds, that's more than enough. Let's have a look. But still very nice hay, like this This minerally, cereally, late summer grass, haze flavor is pretty dominant with this tea, but still this greenness which is adding to it, this freshness which is adding to it. And there the low temperature really plays well with the sweet side of this tea. So it's the first time also I brew this tea with a little bit of a lower temperature. I definitely bring out more the sweet tones, but I still always have kind of this a little bit haze side of the tea in the beginning. This is clear the dominant flavor profile, but then I have a nice add-on due to the green leaves, which bring a little bit more this edamame, a little bit more this spinachy, a little bit more this green taste in, and then in the end I have a nice sweetness rounding it up. So this is a tea which I personally must say is nice due to the fact that you really are on a small kind of trip from a first very beautiful kind of a little bit of a voyage from a very beautiful kind of a little bit of a dry haze note, then going into a more grassy note, and then we're rounding up with a very nice smooth sweetness. When you want to have it, as I said before, a little bit stronger in this veggie taste, go a little bit up with the temperature. Maybe you go to 670, 80 degrees. I think it's a little bit too hot, but 70 degrees, which is around 165, 170 Fahrenheit. This is a very good temperature to just brew the tea. And this is then finally adding more in of its grassy and a little bit more of its greener tone. As you extract a little bit more the flavonoids, a little bit more the greener parts, so also the catechins are coming a little bit more out, and they take more power or more dominance in the taste of the tea then. So this is the second number 3, not number 2, but number 3 of our teas. So I hope you like this one, and if you ever have any questions, do not hesitate to ask us. And if you like this, leave a comment, ask me anything, I'll be happy to answer it. Thanks a lot, have a great day, bye bye.